I got a call from the credit card company telling me that, I had to pay this bill. And the money didn't come in. And I said, okay, I will get it to you next week. And the guy says, you better, because you're going to be in trouble. I said, you really think that I would risk my reputation? He says, I'm not talking about your reputation, sweetie. I'm talking about your freedom. Because if you send us a post-dated check and we can't cash it, you're going to jail.
Hi, I'm Donna Cruz. Welcome to CIA, Contagious Influencers of America, hosted by Victoria Robinson, co-host of the HGTV series My House is Your House, and Keep the Faith Radio's executive producer, 9-time Emmy winner David Sams.
Thank you, Donna. And guess what?
What?
Gloria Gaynor is with us today on CIA.
At first I was afraid. I was petrified.
But will you stop right there?
We have to pay?
No, we cannot be doing music, okay?
Why? Because we have to pay, or because my voice stinks? Just be honest.
Just because the attorneys and all the gatekeepers can't figure out a way
I will survive.
No, stop.
Gloria Gaynor. There's only one.
First of all, she looks
incredible.
She looks like she's like maybe 49. And her new album, it's out right now. You can get it online. Amazing. It has some amazing folks in it. Yolanda Adams shows up.
I
Jason
love her.
Crab's in it.
Oh, wow. We love Jason.
She has an all-star cast, and she is such a great storyteller. She just puts it out there. She has really nothing to hide.
She's real and raw. Enjoy.
First of all, I just want to tell you, I think about all of the years and the songs and the hits and the wonders. A couple of your songs have really helped define music. Which song in your mind is the one song that you believe in your heart of hearts God gave to you for a reason?
Oh, I Will Survive, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, no hesitation on that. Absolutely. Especially because of the way that it came to me. I mean, I had been in hospital. I had surgery on my spine because I'd fallen backwards over, monitored on stage doing a performance, and woke up the next morning paralyzed from the waist down. I'm in the hospital wondering what's going to happen to me, where am I going to go, what am I going to do, because I can't work, I can't do anything. I leave the hospital in a back brace from right up under my armpit to just below my hips. And but I'd been praying, and I left the hospital, quite honestly, confident that God was going to do something, just not knowing what. I'm out of the hospital about 2 months, and I get a phone call from the record company, who had said they were not going to renew my contract. They were just going to let it die, that they were not going to do that. In fact, they had gotten over a new president from England who had success with a song called Substitute. And he wanted to repeat that success in the United States and wanted to do that with me. So they sent me out to LA to record this song called Substitute. Well, when I got there, I asked the producers, what is going to be the B-side? And they said, well, what kind of songs do you like to sing? I said, well, I like songs that are meaningful, that have great lyrics that touch people's hearts, songs that have good melodies. They said, well, we think you're the one we've been waiting for to record this song that we wrote 2 years ago. So I've always believed that God said to them, look, sit down, write this song, and hold on to it. I'm going to send you somebody. And he sent me.
And that song was released on the B-side of
it was
the
on the
single.
B-side. That's another reason why I believe that it was a divine appointment. We took it back to the record company after it was recorded, and they wouldn't even listen to it. So when the record was pressed and they gave us a box of them, we took them to Studio 54, where I always say I Will Survive was born in Studio 54. And we took it back we took it to them, and the DJ played it. The audience immediately loved it, which told me that it was a hit song, with that reaction coming from a jaded audience such as New York. And we gave him the whole box except the one that we kept for ourselves. And he disseminated them to his friends around New York, and they began to play it, and their audiences began to request it, and then people began to request it on radio. And the radio stations began to call the record company asking, where is this recording that we keep getting requests for? And the record company had to say with much chagrin, it's on the B-side of that other song aptly named Substitute.
Now, you started out with Clive Davis, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Did he discover you?
Well,
how did that happen?
What happened was I was working in a club in New York, and my sister was moonlighting as a hat check girl, and the club owner came to me and asked me if I would, because I just went in to do one night, and he asked me if I would stay with his house band. And my sister said, if you're going to be stationary anywhere, this is the place to be because the record company execs all come in here. Mm-hmm. So I took her advice and I stayed, and but it didn't actually happen that way. What happened was one of the go-go girls that worked there was a frustrated singer and had a manager who she brought in to hear me, and he took me to Paul Lecca, who was a producer at Columbia Records, and Paul took me to Clive.
Oh, fantastic. So you grew up in a musical family.
Yes.
Tell me about your childhood.
Well, my childhood was very happy, very musical. All of my brothers sang. My mother sang. And there was all kinds of music in my home. The R&B and pop music and jazz and even country music. One of my brothers liked country music. We told him we found him on the doorstep. But because of him, I did learn to like country music. And
you do find yourself working in Nashville now, so.
Yes. So that was part of the plan, I suppose. But very happy childhood. Like I said, lots of music, lots of laughter, lots of fun. My mother was an excellent cook, and we always had company over for dinner, as poor as we were, because she was a wonderful cook, and she could work those spices, oh boy. And people would leave their fine cuts of steak and lamb and beef and come and eat, cornbread and beans with us.
Oh man, you're making me really hungry. So your brothers, they had a gospel
Well, they
group?
didn't have they sang gospel music together just for the love of music and the love of singing. They didn't actually have a quote unquote group. And they sang together. It didn't go anywhere. Two of them wanted to record, but never got the opportunity. And one of them, I think, really the reason why he didn't get the opportunity was because he could sound like Sam Cooke and insisted on sounding like Sam Cooke. Mm-hmm. And no one could convince him that he was not going anywhere sounding like Sam Cooke. So, yeah, that never happened.
When did you break out of the home front and go look for your dreams?
Well, when I had moved out from my mother. I had a bachelorette apartment, and I used to stand in this is a testament to the belief that if you visualize your dreams, they will come true. Because I used to stand in an empty apartment, or at least an empty living room, and close my eyes and pretend that I was on the stage of a beautiful theater with hundreds or even thousands of adoring fans listening to me sing. And it was at that time that I decided that I was going to do something. And so I started going to clubs. My brother would go with me, and he would go up to the person that the band leader or somebody, and say, "Listen, I got this fabulous singer in here from New York. If you like, I can talk her into doing a number with you." And they would believe him, and then they would ask me to come and perform with them, and I would have a couple of weeks show, and then I just go to another place and do the same thing.
So your brother played your manager?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
How long did that relationship continue like that?
Actually, it didn't happen. Wasn't long. It was maybe a year.
You got rid of your brother?
Well, I didn't get rid of him. He was working. He wasn't really my manager.
Yeah.
He was working a day job, and I wasn't paying him anything anyway. He's just kind of my front man. But it took that long for me to get a show, a gig in a club that I worked in for probably maybe a little over a year. So, I didn't need him in the front for me anymore for that period of time. And then after that, I began to be seen. I was seen by someone who actually worked in the club and took me to Johnny Nash, where I actually did my very first recording, which was before Clive Davis. But that one didn't do anything.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Can that recording be found?
Yeah, because I think the only place that it did do something was in England, and it never fails that a reporter in England will remind me that was that Honeybee that I did with Clive Davis was not my first recording.
Okay. So when you were taken to Clive, tell me what happened.
Well, I was taken to Clive, and Clive had me do 3 auditions. I determined that Clive just liked my voice, because there's no way the president of Columbia needed to hear somebody sing 3 times before he could determine whether or not they could sing, and he wanted to record them. Although I did for him jazz songs, standards. He called in a team, two brothers, Melvin and Mervyn Steele, to write a song for me to record. And they wrote a song called Honeybee, and that was my first single.
But then what happened?
Well, Honeybee was what we call a turntable hit. Didn't really do anything. And Clive left Columbia. So I was kind of floundering around there because no one was interested in an artist that had been brought there by someone who was gone. And so, praise God, someone from MGM Records heard me singing Honeybee, and decided that he wanted me and the song for their label. And he bought my contract, and I'll never forget running across New York on foot, actually running, because there was a deadline to get that contract signed, get me signed to MGM, where they were looking to do an album, and they were looking for a title song from the album. We were having great success with me and my band doing Never Can Say Goodbye. And so I called them down to Bruce Greenberg and asked him, would he send someone to see the response to our arrangement of Never Can Say Goodbye, because I believe that would be a hit. And you could see that the audience was responding to that better than anything else in the show. He agreed, and that did become the title song of the album.
And of course, that was a remake.
Oh, yeah.
One of the
Well, it was a Jackson 5
classic
song.
Jackson 5 songs.
Right.
Yeah.
And
so was it just a favorite of yours, and you decided to do it?
It was a favorite of mine. It was, what you do when you have a band and you don't have the recordings.
Yeah.
You pick songs from the top 40, and those are the songs that become your repertoire.
Yeah.
And so, but it was, of all of the songs that we did, that was the best one as far as the audiences were concerned. That was the one they reacted to most and requested most.
Here you are, you do this song, Never Can Say Goodbye, which became iconic. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was all over the charts.
Yeah.
How did that change your life?
Well, it started me traveling abroad to England and Italy and Spain. By the time I got to where I recorded "I Will Survive," I had gone to probably 25 countries, and "I Will Survive" expanded that to 80.
When you go from being a nightclub singer to being an artist on the road on the big stage, what is the biggest transition that you have to make to keep your head on straight?
Well, the trick is not to transition, I think. Just stay with the people who knew you when, and the people that you know that you can trust and love you for who you are and not for what you have. And just realize that the accolades that you receive are just people's opinions of what they see, and it is in no way descriptive of who you are. It isn't who you are. It's just what they see. It's your personality, not your character. So you have to keep check on your character, and be careful to try to be the person that you want them to think you are.
Now, as I recall, at one point you had a really bad situation, injury
Yeah.
on stage.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I'd fallen on stage at the Beacon Theater. I was doing a skit with my band, the background singers, actually. I would take the microphone and whip the cord across the stage, and they would catch it, and we would do a tug of war for a few seconds. Well, this particular night, they caught it, but they didn't hold it. So when I pulled on it, I fell backwards because there was no tension on it. I fell backwards over the monitor. Well, I jumped back up and finished my show and went out to breakfast and went back to my apartment, went to bed, and woke up the next morning paralyzed from the waist down. And ended up in hospital and was there for months. That was just before, as I said earlier, just before I would survive.
What happened? You were paralyzed for a month?
No, I was only paralyzed for a few hours. They gave me medication. They released the tension and on my spine. I was able to move, but just barely move. I couldn't get up and walk. And so they kept me in traction for months, and they tried to do all kinds, because they didn't really know what to do with the spine in those days. They gave me a spinal tap. They gave me a myelogram, which were the two things that they had at the time, and they gave me lots of medications for pain. And this wonderful doctor, Lane, did a surgery, and I was in for a few more weeks after that, and then finally released in this back brace.
Now, I Will Survive, you did a revised version that I would say infused a touch of faith.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, after I recorded it, I really rededicated my life to the Lord. And, we all know God when we're sick. We have problems, we all know him, and I thought I knew him. But I was at a party, and I convinced that something really bad for me was about to happen. I don't believe it was anything physical, but I think that it would have ruined probably my reputation and subsequently pretty much my life, because the Holy Spirit grabbed me in my collar, literally grabbed me in my collar and said, "That's enough."
What was going to happen?
I don't know, but he did. And for me, personally, further proof for that is I don't remember who the people were. They were our friends. They were people we hung out with all the time, but I don't remember them. I don't remember anybody that was at that party except my husband and the girl that flew out to California with us. I don't remember them at all. So it was just, I think, not a bad group of people, but they were doing things that God didn't want me doing. And then the really strange thing about it, and what really convinces me that definitely was God, was that some months later I was going through my mother's things and I came across a baptismal certificate, and with that a lot of memories came wafting back into my mind of how when I was 16 years old I had asked my mother to be baptized. I said, I want to give my heart and my life to God. And I remember that, but I had forgotten it. But praise God, he didn't. And I think that at that party, he was saying to the enemy, you know what? Not this one. This one's mine. Leave her alone. And you get out of here. You can imagine yourself, you go to a place and you see your kid there involved in craziness, and you're like, get out of here. I raised you better than this.
Yeah.
So I just feel like that's what went on there.
So what was the line that you changed in I Will Survive?
Well, originally it said, it took all the strength I had not to fall apart. I changed it to say, only the Lord could give me strength not to fall apart. And then it said, and originally said, you see me, somebody new. I say, he made me, somebody new. I'm not that chained up little person still in love with you.
Now, is that version of the song still available?
I recorded it in Italy. And although we recorded it a joint venture where the producer there and the record company was supposed to release it there and then give us the master so that we could have it pressed and released here, he never gave it to us.
Oh, okay.
We
need to track this guy down.
Yeah. But you can get it in Italy, but you can't get it here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So here you are releasing this album, Testimony. And you've got some greats on it, some of my favorite people on it. including Yolanda Adams,
Yeah.
who I worked with years ago. You have Jason Crabb, I think, on there.
Jason Crabb,
who else
Bart
you have?
Millard, and Mike Farris of the Screaming Wheeling Cheaters.
There you go. I'm looking right here. And what was that like coming to Nashville and doing this?
It was
project?
wonderful. I'd only ever been to Nashville once before, and I just
You're
came
kidding
in,
me.
did my show, and left.
One time?
One time. Came in, did the show, left. Did not experience Nashville at all at that time. But I've fallen in love with Nashville. The people are wonderful, and the fact that it is such an incredible music town is fascinating and wonderful. Just, always running into music people and being able to share with them experiences in the business and life in general. It's wonderful. And so to be able to record in a studio where so many legends had recorded, RCA's Studio B, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. Whenever someone asks me, and I've often been asked, what I find to be the biggest difference between music recording now and when I was recording earlier on in my career, I invariably say the spontaneous creativity that can only happen between live musicians playing together, inspiring one another. That is what is missing from today's recordings, but that is what you have on this album. Mm-hmm. That studio is big enough to get everybody in there recording all together.
Oh, yeah.
And like I say, inspiring one another and just enjoying the experience and giving it 100% to the audience.
Are you amazed how on fire this town is? I mean,
it's incredible. It really is. But it's not, it really shouldn't be surprising with all of the people that you have here, all of the talent that you have here. The creativity it's incredible.
Tell me about the one track on this album that means the most to you.
Amazing Grace.
Of course.
Yeah, it does. Because Amazing Grace, the original song, has always been one of my loves. I've always loved that song. But the way we did it, the changes that we made to it, allow me to express how I have experienced the love and the mercy, the grace and the goodness of God. And whenever I sing it, if I allow myself to go back and think about, remember those things, I have a difficult time getting through it, because it's just, he's incredible. And he has shown himself so faithful to me. It's beyond wonderful. No one deserves that, which just shows that his love is unconditional.
Tell me about a time in your life that you were, your back was up against the wall and God pulled you through it. I didn't say give me 25. Just give me one really good one.
One immediately came to mind, because my husband and I were not having such a great time financially, and I had a big credit card bill, something I had promised myself I would never do. Well, I got a call from the credit card company telling me that I had to pay this bill, and I said to him, "Yeah, okay, I'll deal with it." I prayed about it, and the Lord told me to send them because it was $400 and something. So I had to send them 4 $100 checks, and I would pay off the small amount. And so I told them that, and they agreed. And then they called about another bill that I had that was $6,000. And so I told them that I would send them 6 $1,000 checks, 6 post-dated checks, and they would be able to cash them, one each month. And the money didn't come in with the first check, when the first check was due. And so they called me and said, what's going on? And I said, okay, I will get it to you next week. And the guy says, you better, because you're going to be in trouble. I said, you really think that I would risk my reputation, over $1,000? He says, I'm not talking about your reputation, sweetie. I'm talking about your freedom. Because if you send us a post-dated check and we can't cash it, you're going to jail. I was like, okay. So I hung up, and I called my church, and they wouldn't lend it to me. I called my friends, all these different people, they wouldn't lend it to me. They couldn't, things that happened, they couldn't get it to me. So I just resigned myself that I guess I'm going to jail because I don't know what to do. But this friend called me from England and asked me to send him a picture to advertise a show that I was going to do for him. I said, Malcolm, can you lend me $5,000? And he said, sure. I said, can you wire it to my bank account? He said, yeah. So the reason why I know this was God was because he lives in England. And if he wires the money to me from his bank at 9 o'clock in the morning, it's in my bank hours before 9 o'clock when this man is going to try to cash this check.
So the guy's your check wouldn't bounce then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a God thing. That's a
yeah.
God shot. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You look at the music field today, the music business, and you see all the changes that have taken place in not only the business, but technology, how music's delivered. I mean, you actually gave me a CD today, and it's such a collector's item having a CD in my hand.
I know.
And by the way, that's an amazing cover.
Thank you.
It really is.
Thank you so much.
But we see the changes that have occurred in the past 10 years or so. Are you just amazed by what has happened to the music, how it's changed, how distribution's changed, how you can pay $10 a month and have any song you want on the planet?
Yes, I am. I am.
And somehow or
amazed.
another, it all stays together. It keeps together. People are still eating.
Yeah. I am amazed. And I don't know if it's better. It's better, of course, like everything. It's better in some ways and not better in other ways. Because artists have more freedom now. They are able to get their music to the public without the gatekeepers and, always standing in their way.
There really is no excuse if you're 10, 12 years old anymore, or 15 or whatever it is. If you have the talent, you're not confined to the garage anymore.
Today, you're depending on your own clout because you can put something on YouTube and there's no telling who's going to hear it and who enjoy it themselves. They just can spur it on. Whereas before, it went to the record company and could stop there, period. Just dead stop, and you never got an opportunity to find out whether it was, worthy of the public. Nowadays, the public gets to choose for themselves.
Over the years, what did you do to make sure that you had that clout?
I just prayed a lot. I prayed a lot, and I've always believed that this was my calling. And so I don't think you can lose when you're walking in your purpose. You can't lose. You may not win what you thought you wanted to win, but you will win what you, in your heart of hearts, want and need. And I've always believed this is my purpose.
Your whole life, ever since you were baptized when you were 16, you felt God had a place and a purpose for you.
Absolutely. I think he has a place and a purpose for everybody. It's just, we need to open our hearts and allow him to come in and show us what that purpose is. And I do believe, even for people who don't believe in God, if you follow your passion, you will find your purpose.
Is there one thing in your life that you look at right now that you go, wow, I'd love to have a redo?
A list? You'd be like a list? I would love to have a redo.
But there's somebody listening to this right now that they're just beating up on themselves, They're just beating up. They're going through it.
Listen, the only way that you can not want redos, and first of all, you're not getting any redos. That's number one. Just forget that. But the only way you can not want redos is to be doing your best to follow God, because he knows the route to where you want to go. He wants you to get to where you want to go, but he knows the route. Look, if I'm going to California, I can get there by going down 95 from New York, down 95 to Florida and then across. But I can start in New York and just go straight across. Okay, so eventually you'll get there, but let's take the shortest route. And he knows the shortest route. So follow him and not be wasting time and energy and just everything and missing out on so much that he has in store.
That's good. I just want to ask you, what is the prayer that you have right now for the world? We're going through a lot of strife. We're going through a lot of craziness. So much fighting, right?
So much anger.
So much anger, so much angst. Just what's your prayer for the world?
Peace on earth, goodwill toward men. That's what we say. But we will not have peace among men until there's peace in men's hearts. So that's what I pray for, us to have peace in our hearts. When you have peace in your heart, you want peace with your fellow man. The lack of peace is the foundation and the cause of all of the anxiety and all of the anger and all of the greed and all of the selfishness. It's all because we don't have peace.
Can we get there?
Only through him.
Thank you so much. This has been so much fun.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your time and appreciate the contagious encouragement that you give us through your music.
Thank you.
And just keep it up, will you?
I purpose to.
I just can't imagine, how did Gloria get out of the 80s without doing coke? No,
that's a good question.
Hollywood, Hollyweird, the entertainment industry. I mean, those years were crazy.
Right. I think Gloria had some wisdom and had some good voices in her head, knowing what was going to destroy her and what wasn't. And that's not who she is. That's why she looks so darn good.
That's right. And that's why she's alive.
Yeah, and that's why she's still got her wits about her. And she's still singing and doing albums and comes to do an interview and knocks it out of the park.
I encourage you to go out and really download her album.
It's a testimony.
Testimony.
Yeah.
It really is a testament to just how you can have a third act and be brilliant, and she's been able to do that and
make good choices.
I want to thank you, Gloria, for really opening up to us and really encouraging us and showing us that there is a way other than the crazy way.
And I want to say to you, Gloria, that the next time David Sams invites you to do an interview, you need to say, is Victoria going to be there? Because if I miss you again, I'm going to quit. I want to see Gloria Gaynor. My sister's karaoke go-to song, God love her, my sister Brenda. She cannot sing, but she will get up there and scream out the I Will Survive song.
That was not supposed to be a hit. It wasn't even supposed to be released.
But I think she's more known for I Will Survive than she is for her other hits.
Yeah.
I love her.
Well, let's throw a big karaoke party.
Yeah, we need to.
And invite everybody, all of our listeners.
Yeah, we should.
We should come up with a date and just see who shows up.
All right, we need to. We can't tell it now because we got to get our calendars out.
No,
but we will announce it.
Later this year, we will have a karaoke night in Franklin, Tennessee.
Yep.
And they're
going to come from all over, David. California and Canada. They're going to come from the UK just for our karaoke night.
Just for a karaoke night. That's right. And
you can go to the Opry too.
We'll give away prizes. We'll figure out the prizes.
Okay. Let's do it.
Okay.
We can rent the whole place.
Maybe we can get Gloria Gaynor to show up. Okay.
Can you imagine?
If I get Gloria to show up to sing a couple of her hits, right?
Yeah.
Then for every song that she does, you have to do a song with me, and I get to pick the song. Is that a deal? If I get Gloria?
Get Gloria Gaynor?
Yeah.
And I can ad-lib if I need to?
No. You have to stick to the lyrics.
You get Gloria Gaynor, and you got to get one other one. Because Gloria will be easy.
Don't say Elton John.
All right, not Elton John,
okay.
But Gloria will be easy for you because now you're buddies. Because that's probably why you didn't have me here on purpose. You knew she'd like me better. So you can get Gloria. So I got to think of somebody else you've got to get. If you're going to make me sing songs with you that I know you're going to make me sing that have to do with making love or making out.
Hey, baby, there's a lot of time between now and then.
Because I am not doing it.
This has been CIA, Contagious Influencers of America. This is David Sams along with
Victoria Robinson,
star of the HGTV show. What is that thing called?
My House is Your House, but I think they've been throwing around this week. They may change the name, so make sure and find it. And they're trying and testing.
How do I find something and if you change the name? I don't get it.
You put My House is Your House, and it'll say it's been changed, I guess. I don't know.
Well, if I type your name in a search engine like on
and put Victoria Robinson, HGTV, you should find it.
And it won't say canceled.
Well, it could. I mean, I don't know. It could say canceled. It won't get canceled. It just may not get a second season. We've got a full first season that's going to show, but there's no promise of a second season. So put in my name, HGTV. You'll find it. Please be watching.
And we appreciate you listening, and we appreciate you sharing us. And please go rate us. Give us 5 stars. Just want to wish y'all a happy summertime. Are you out tanning?
I don't do that anymore. I don't get out there. I mean, I cover in sunblock, so I don't like
That's good.
I don't do the tanning thing. I used to put the baby oil and the Hawaiian Tropic on in my 20s and 30s. I stopped doing that, like my early 30s, because I started noticing it's so bad for your skin. I'm going to the beach next week for a whole week.
Well, if you ever need anybody to rub some lotion on your back, your buddy's here. I just love to see her face go red.
He does love to see my face when, oh my gosh. People, please don't get the wrong idea. Please.
We have a good time, don't we?
We do have a good time. You know I love you.
I love you too. We'll see you next time on CIA, Contagious Influencers of America.